Good timing here. I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mrs. Higgins?
Yes.
Look at you two.
President Percival.
I'm here.
Mayor Powers.
Here.
Councilman Capabianco.
I'm here.
Vice President Ball.
Here.
Councilman Swiger.
Here.
Councilwoman Guy. Councilman Long.
Here.
Councilman Sidlow.
Here.
Solicitor Wills.
Here.
Engineer Catania.
Present.
Chief Murray.
Here.
And Vicente is not here. Did I get everybody?
Yes, please let the
Everybody's
record reflect that Mr. Pisani is excused this evening. Council's had a moment to read the minutes of the previous meeting. What's your pleasure, please?
Make a motion to pass last month's minutes.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? So moved. Mrs. Higgins, do you have any correspondence this
I
evening?
do. For the month of October, this is money that came in through the Borough office here. Licenses and inspections, $7,454.50. From the police department for reports and parking tickets, $160. Recorder of deeds, $4,572.75. Court financial services, $9.02. For the 2020 PERDA, which is Public Utility Realty Tax, $944.51. Tax Claim Bureau, $4,852.63. And District Court, $553.75, for a total income in October through this borough, not including EIT or LST, is $18,547.16. I'm done.
That was good, thank you. Moving on to the mayor's report, Mayor Powers.
Thank you, Madam President. Crimes reported in October were 5, public drunkenness was 1, criminal mischief 2, theft 1, identity theft 1, calls for service 207, suspicious person 11, medical emergency 7, assist other agencies 42, 6 domestics, alarm 7. There was 2 accidents, 43 traffic details, 100 vehicle stops, 82 traffic citations, and 18 warnings. October saw a change in schedule for our officers. The new hours are 6 to 2, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., and 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. This change was a result of numerous discussions on the benefits of changing, and the result has been much higher productivity rate and school zone coverage by marked patrol units. That's all I have.
Super, any questions for the mayor? Moving on to call to citizens for agenda-related items only. Does anybody have any questions concerning agenda-related items only? And I failed to ask if you have any, to mention if you have any cell phones, could you please mute them? Please refrain from texting. And is anyone taping besides the borough? You have an agenda question only.
Yes. And again, I come at this completely not knowing what I'm talking about. With the sinkholes, I was listening to NPR today, and they were talking about the Build Back Better money that we're going to be getting, but we won't see it for 8 months out at the very earliest. Can our streets withstand 8 months and maybe use that money that's specifically for infrastructure for the benefit of the streets? And again, you know, Engineer Catania, I know not at all what I'm talking about, so
Well,
school me if you need to.
We're going to mention that Ms. Catania and I have put our heads together with some ideas to get us through the winter months. And then when I get to the budget report, I also have some ideas for the care money for next year when we get to May. So
Because I know we need the dump truck, I know there's a lot of
Yes.
stuff that you guys have been putting off, and every time
Yes.
it seems like fate knows we have money. So I completely understand. I feel like maybe they've collapsed, like they're gonna collapse, and maybe if you just go through the winter, we have money to use it.
We've been assured that it's not going to bury anything.
Okay.
So, but we do have Plan B. We actually have Plan A, B, and C at this point. So, but yes,
Wonderful, thank you.
thank you. Does anybody have any questions concerning agenda items only? Moving on to the President's report then. We've been notified that our county aid will be decreasing in 2022 due to COVID-19, which has had a reduction from traffic, which is a trickle-down effect. Again, as everybody knows, there wasn't much traffic, and this all reflects onto our county aid. They projected county aid in 2020 was $855,353 for the county. They do not know how much county aid we will be receiving in 2022 for 2021. Mayor Powers is continually handling issues. Everybody's aware the county has developed their own health department, and I thank you very much for dealing with that. Our Act 205 forms have been accepted by the Auditor General for our police pension, and Mr. Pisani has been really good at keeping up with those issues. Also, I'd like to take a moment to discuss the budget. Everybody get ready for this one. I'm going to do this, and I spoke with Mr. Pisani at length today. I talked to Vice President Bull. I'm going to start out with, we just received the 2022 county assessment, which is what we were waiting for, the last piece of the puzzle, and that will be sent over to Mr. Pisani tomorrow morning. We're currently approximately $1 million short on our budget. And actually, it comes down to $128,875 to be short. The reason we are short is numerous reasons. There was an increase in our MMO this year, as everybody is aware. It was mentioned this fall. Our MMO went from $55,314 to $118,160. That's a difference of $62,846 in our budget. It's an enormous increase for us to absorb, but we have no other choice. Our contribution to the fire company will be again $130,000. We've talked numerous times over the last several years of specifically budgeting a figure for our woodlot. And we've designated $10,000 for the maintenance. It's been noted, and thank you, Mrs. Saunders, that we have, Chester City has some trees down near the Woodlot Fitness Trail. We've also budgeted for the accreditation of our police department for $15,300. And our truck bed, which we continually put off to the point now it's rusting through, we're budgeting $18,000 for that. Mr. Pisani and I went through line items today, one by one, and we are again on a tight budget with nothing that can be deleted. I don't know how many times we could postpone the bed. It's been 3 years, and it's rusting even more. Moving on to the trash and recycling. We've been notified by the county. Their dumping fee or tipping fee, whichever you wish to call it, is going up to $78 a ton. This is over $20 a ton increase this year. The new trash contract that came in increased our trash fee by $71,900. That's almost $72,000. I have spoken before that we need to look at the recycling program and make sure the first year that it's working that we pick up recycling weekly. If it's not working and the community is not participating in recycling, we need to take a step back next year at the end of the year or in the fall and see if we can readjust that. At this point, between the disposal fee and the increase is over $24,000. We're looking at a trash fee that's going from $115 per household. It was $245. It'll be increased by $115 to $360 a year. I know that's quite upsetting to many of us. But on the good note is we still will pick up household trash twice a week, recycling weekly, and heavy trash at the end of every month. We're still awaiting a schedule from the hauler for the new year. We will be doing a tax anticipation notice we have, and our solicitor has notified council. He's working on that for next month. That's $100,000. Our health insurance, which we projected was 5% increase, we have now gotten the figures in, and we're at 7% increase.
What was that for? I'm sorry.
The health insurance has gone up 7%. Again, moving on to liquid fuel, we will be getting a decrease in 2022 as we did in 2021. County aid will be decreased, so we will have to watch our liquid fuel budget next year. We can only project these figures into 2023, so we will again have a tight budget. One of the things that we were talking about is the CARE Act for the stimulus money that we received in 2021 and 2022. We should have approximately $256,000 between this year's income from the CARES Act and next year. Having spoken with Mr. Pisani, Vice President Bull, Ms. Catania several times now, this money could be used to do the repair on Edgemont Avenue. And we would still have funds left that would be eligible for the CARES Act to incorporate some of those fundings into some of these projects. So it's not a total loss. So one of the things that Mr. Pisani is working on, council is aware, our millage right now is 7.45. We may be able to not take a whole mill increase and maybe 3/4 of a mill. And again, we were waiting for the county assessment that just came in today. But as of now, our trash fee will be $360 a year. Our millage right now, and it could again come down, will be 8.45 mils. One of the things that I always look at is how much is that per household. And if you're looking at your real estate tax, the increase would equate to about $10 a month for the real estate. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do about the trash fee. So I wanted to let everybody know specifically where our expenditures are. Our increases on revenue are slight. I will say that the increases in revenue, a large amount has come from property transfer taxes. Those members of our community who have moved or sold or moving, their transfer tax monies this year have exceeded our budget limit. So not that we want anybody to move, but it's been helpful with this year's budget. So having said that, if anybody has any questions, please feel free.
Increasing the tax.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying minimum 1.3, what was it?
We're looking at a 1 mil
1
increase.
mil increase.
If we can, Joe will get those figures tomorrow from Mrs. Higgins.
Because if the one mil is just going to get a squeaking by,
Mhm.
I think you should go for it, move it up a little more so you have a buffer, because we don't have any money to do anything.
And when I spoke to Mr. Pisani this morning, he and I discussed that. 1 mil equates to $109,000. Right now, we're currently short $128,875.
Right.
So around $129,000. Joe feels that at the end of the year, we will still have cash on hand. If there is no emergencies, you know me with the inlet thing, hopefully no inlets collapse, no emergencies, no inlets collapse, and we continue with the no spending policy. We should have enough money to cover that, and,
So we're doing this with hoping,
yeah, a hope and a prayer.
and when, sooner or later, you're gonna have to raise it. I mean, you're gonna have to rip the Band-Aid off. And, I mean, everybody else is raising their taxes, raising their
know.
prices. And Parkside just can't sit back and like, okay, we're good, we're not raising.
But we are raising, like, right, a mill.
Right
1
now,
mil. And I'm saying
right,
increasing it.
right
to
now, 1
another-
mil.
What we can, at least to give us a buffer to, if there's ever an emergency. Okay, so there's no emergencies for 2021. What happens in 2022?
well,
If we don't, if an inlet goes?
and when we spoke, one of the things is, you're looking at the CARES Act stimulus money, which will equate to $256,000. If we spend 200 of that on the Edgemont Avenue project, okay, then you still have approximately 45 to 50,000, I'm just ballparking it, that we can then use the expense for the police accreditation, which is 15,000. The truck bed is eligible for 18,000. So right there, you're saving 35,000 that we can use as a hold-off or as a savings to put it into Pliget.
Yeah, but those
My
don't-
concern is that we should have some kind of savings there. And I've said this for
I mean,
decades.
everybody has savings. I mean, we're always told to
Mm-hmm.
put money aside.
And I agree. And those projects are eligible for the COVID money. So that we could take whatever's left this time, well, actually, we'll get it June 30th, but we should have these plans made and in the process before we actually get the money. Because we're already sitting on over 100,000 now.
Right.
So that'll take care of partially of the Edgemont Avenue. And we also discussed not taking out a loan, even though we have a loan out there. So it would be better, even if we get a loan for 3%, to use money that we don't have to borrow in the long run. Mr. Sidlow, you were saying?
Well, my understanding of the CARES Act is that, and we talked about this at the special budget meeting we had, is that it's more for sewer, broadband. There were 4 or 5 or 6 specific things that it could be used for, like the bed of the truck is not, COVID eligible money, like it was to reimburse people for.
Au contraire.
For losses of income and for any kind of losses that they had. It was not for investing in the bed of the truck.
Au contraire, it was one of the eligible projects because it deals with the infrastructure. We had more than 4 listings. We had, it can be used for broadband, which the police department needs to take care of their computer systems. And part of their accreditation funding for the budget is computer systems and upgrading their security. So that is eligible.
Right, but I believe it was
That-
community-wide broadband to people who didn't have broadband.
No, I have the folder with me. I can look at that after the meeting with you instead of going through this now, but
Okay.
I'd be happy to do that. But we have already looked at those things, and those projects are eligible. That would take it off of the budget list if we have money left over from the COVID money and give us some kind of cushion going into 2023. Go ahead, I'm
Oh.
listening.
I think we should leave the budget as is and see what the infrastructure costs. And then if we have future projects to use, because we have till 2026 to use that money. We're not in any rush to use the COVID money, the relief, the CARES Act money. So.
Well, I don't think that we want to wait on Edgemont Avenue to 2026.
No, I'm saying, let's pay for Edgemont Avenue, and then if there's money remaining after we pay for Edgemont Avenue, we make future decisions on that money at the time. I don't think we should include that in this, or take items out of the budget and pay for it with the CARES dollars. I think we should, unfortunately, I think we should get the money through the millage increase.
Well, I appreciate that thought, and I pulled out my COVID money file, and the American Rescue Relief Funds can be used for numerous scenarios, one of which is to promote businesses within your area to use a vendor that's a proven vendor for us to do a truck bed is promoting economic development for that company. And that is a permissible act within that monies. And another one is any type of economic development through, and you're right, infrastructure, road repair, sewer, water, computer systems for our police department that can be upgraded. I know we already spoke about that. Some of the other issues would be, and again, I haven't seen this in a couple months, would be, and we did talk about LED improvement within this borough building for energy efficiency, which is again a permissible issue under the COVID money. And I believe increasing Board of Health outreach to the community was permissible. Again, so it was not restricted to 4 items. It's economic development within our community system and vendors that we have used in prior situations. So, yes, there are restrictions. We cannot use it for salaries unless those salaries were COVID-related. So that is not permissible. So, and health benefits, if it was COVID-related, are all permissible issues. So we are not restricted to just 4 items. So I think that it's something that when we get our second round of monies this June, coming June, then our priorities should be listed as we talked about prior. And I'm guessing Edgemont Avenue would be top. And then we look at other issues in the budget that coincide with what's necessary and what's permissible under the COVID Act. The American, and for those people in the audience, I keep referring it to the COVID Act. It's, oh, I got a fuzzy. It's actually called the American Rescue Relief Plan. Does anybody else have any questions on the budget or anything that I've said this evening so far? Moving on then, I will continue and we will go into the regular order with Police Public Safety, Councilman Capabianco.
Thank you, Madam President. All the police vehicles have underwent their general maintenance for the month, and I can report general progress on code violations.
Super, thank you. Any questions for the councilman? Do you want to move on to?
Yeah, thanks again, Madam President. For Public Works, the borough has been sanitized, including police vehicles. This will be the last month I do it. After come January, I figure if you're going to sanitize anything in here, go outside, get a vendor, or not do it at all. What else is there? The truck is in dire need of tires. I actually took it out today to pick up a sign down at the Woodlot. That sign down there that had all 3 4x4s on it. They were all rotten on the bottom. And it was top heavy, so that has been removed, and I had to fill up the left front tire of the truck, and I noticed that they need all new tires on that truck.
Would you please go ahead and get that done?
Okay, thank you very much. Other than that, I can report general progress.
Any questions for the councilman? Moving on to the ordinance report, Councilman Schwager.
I can just report general progress for ordinances.
Super license and inspections, Councilman Long.
Thank you. We have for the month of October would be the permits issued building was residential 4, commercial 0, plumbing residential 0, commercial 0, mechanical residential 0, commercial 0, electrical residential 2, commercial 0. Use and occupancies, inspections were completed were 2, re-inspections 3, and 0 street opening.
Thank you.
That's it.
Any questions for the councilman? Emergency management, Mayor Powers.
Thank you, Madam President. As you heard Lisa and I talking earlier in the meeting, I'll be working on the hazard mitigation plan. It looks to be extensive and time-consuming, so I'll be putting a lot of effort and time into that plan to get it finalized for the county. Fire Marshal report, the fire company responded to 20 emergencies last month. There's been an increase of motor vehicle accidents on Edgemont Avenue for whatever reason, we can't pinpoint it. but been an uptick in accidents.
Wow.
Health inspector, general progress.
Super. Any questions for the mayor?
I got one for the fire marshal.
Yes, sir.
So, it was last week that I had about at least 10 people who came up to me and asked me why the fire department was down on Edgemont Avenue. Well, chief of the fire department and Fire Marshal Rob Powers had told me they were doing a pre-planning of all the business down there. God forbid if there was a fire down there. So they were going in and out of the businesses to find out what was, if there was a fire there, they knew what they were doing there. Alva's was in violation of one of our codes, and that was a gas shut-off, and the fire marshal had addressed that. So I want to give out kudos to the fire department and Fire Marshal Rob Powers for, you know, they're not just sitting on their butts over there at the firehouse. They're actually out there doing their jobs.
Thank
So,
you.
that's what I have to say.
Nick is
Thank
correct.
you.
Every 2 years, we try and do a pre-planning assessment, and we take the buildings that we suspect that would have the most problems if a fire came in with shrapnel. We look for violations. The fire company will pinpoint things and then get a hold of me, and then we'll correct them as we see corrected. And then we share that information with the incoming units, and we have a specialized plan for every building, where the hydrant is, how many people in that building, who the homeowner is, who the residents are, and what are priorities in that building. So just to take an example, ERS is an apartment complex on the second floor. There's only one way in and out of ERS. So the second floor, if that fire's in that entrance where those people have to come from, we know we have to go through the second floor window to the rear automatically, and we can start that as incoming units are there. So that's the purpose of that, and I commend the fire company for taking it upon themselves to doing that. So,
And I thank them very much.
thank you.
I appreciate that. Any other comments? Moving on to the financial report, Vice President Bull.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? So moved.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? So moved.
Madam President, just a couple of brief statements before we move to the rest of the motions. The borough is fiscally healthy. It's no longer listed as a distressed community as of a number of years ago. And with that said, the costs of services are increasing and appear to be accelerating. So at the same time, you can say costs are increasing. If you put $1 in your pocket last year, it's worth less than 95 cents right now. So the cost of fuel, the cost of having your trash hauled, the cost of things like that, it's almost to stay on parity with how much money's in circulation right now is how much that's coming down towards us.
Right.
We have to increase our costs. So unfortunately, it looks like a tax increase, and it is a higher number, but it's a higher number when all the numbers are higher. So I would say, the reason I say that is I applaud everyone for wanting to have savings. Personally, we should have savings. Fiscally, we should have savings. As a borough, it's not really our job. So we should be able to get through headwinds, we should be able to manage emergencies, we should be able to do things like that. But it is a disservice to our residents to put $10,000 away and have it turn into $7,000 or $5,000 or $4,000. We are fiscally healthy at this point in time, so we can manage the resources that we have. We can manage with getting through these cost increases with an uptick in the millage for our tax rate. And I would think that when things settle out, CARES Act money settles in, some of the bigger projects come to fruition. Like, we haven't replaced the truck in a while. For a while, we replaced the truck every few years. Now we're maintaining the truck a little longer because it has low
Low mileage.
mileage thing,
Yeah.
but it's still a plow truck. So, yeah, I don't want people to forget that it's still a plow truck. It will be due to be replaced
Couple years.
sooner than later, but it should have value to somebody else, either through municipal bid or through an auction or something like that. So I do recommend paying to have the bed replaced and some of those, because it's the same way as keeping, you know, keeping the lights on here, keeping the walls painted, you have to do maintenance. Might have been a little bit of a long-winded, kind of like, word diatribe, but there is a lot of moving parts right now, so, but,
Well, I think, Vice President, you're right. When we're paying $3.49 a gallon of gasoline, the inflation is the highest in, what, decades? It's very hard to do a budget and try to project what the costs are going to be this time next year.
oh, absolutely.
Very
Or
difficult.
interest rates or anything.
Anything,
So,
loaf of bread.
we all lived through peak oil. That was decades ago. We made it through there, so we can't project too far. But with that, I would like to make a motion to accept the preliminary budget to start the conversation, which would be, it doesn't have a number.
Motion to accept the first reading.
Motion to accept the first reading of the preliminary budget.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? All those opposed? So moved.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to make a motion to advertise the 2022 preliminary budget.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? So moved. And Vice President, I would ask that the preliminary budget, as it stands right now, be posted on the website.
That's the reason.
Mindy, you're going to advertise that preliminary?
Yes.
Great. And that preliminary, again, by law, for 10 days, it's not subject to being changed or modified. At the conclusion of those 10 days, when we come back in December, Borough Council certainly has the discretion to
Readjust.
adjust that, adjust the millage, and adjust the figures if it sees so fit.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion to advertise ordinance 568, which is the trash fee to be set at $360 per family for garbage for the year 2022, based off of the increase for the tipping fees, tonnage, and a new contract this year.
Second.
Any questions on the motion to advertise ordinance number 568?
What is advertising?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? So moved.
Thank you, Madam President. Moving along, I would like to make a motion to advertise. Oh, quick question. Since
Yes.
we do not have the actual tax rate, should we table ordinance number 569 until December? Do we have an accurate assessment of our tax rate?
Actually, no, because you're only going to advertise the heading,
Okay,
so that the header of the ordinance will be advertised. We can make the adjustment if we do not go up to 8.45 at December's council meeting, because we have to pass a final reading of the budget and accept the budget as is.
thank you for the clarification, Madam President. I will make a motion to advertise ordinance 569, which would set the tax rates for the year 2022.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? So moved.
Thank you, Madam President. Moving along to the Woodlot Project, I would like to thank Councilman Capobianco for taking care of the Woodlot sign that had succumbed to wind, weather, and age. So we will have to look into having that redone. I don't know if the engineer still has the artwork essentially, or what it was, that we could perhaps. That would be a huge help. So,
Sounds like what I do.
Actually,
Come
you
to win,
have it,
weather, and
Shirley.
age. I do.
We did
I
that.
do.
We did that at the same time we did the front. I didn't do that as
Yes.
part of the
okay.
Yes, and
the
I
Woodlot project.
will look.
Was it the blue?
Yeah, I
was it-
might have
It wasn't the blue sign.
No, it's the sign with all the, says what you
With the
can't do,
trail.
what you cannot do. It's
Oh,
not
the
one with
rules and
track.
regulations.
Yes, yes, we can order that from somewhere.
Okay.
Got you.
If you want,
I was going off the picture, I didn't get a chance to get down there when the sun was up, so.
I only saw it as it was flat down, so.
Looked like there was 3 4x4s holding it up. I thought it was
Yes.
the one that had the actual trail map
no,
on
and
it.
this thing's heavy too, it's heavy.
It may be a consideration at some point to review and replace that trail map as well. I believe they were put in very close to the same time and using the same construction. And it is definitely a heavier sign.
Well, it's necessary, and it really is, to have the rules and regulations down there. I mean, there's a lot going on that sign, so if we can get that replaced as soon as possible, that would be great.
Do we need to budget not to exceed type sort of
Feel free.
motion?
Feel free.
I'd like to make a motion to replace the Woodlot signage with a fee not to exceed $500.
Second.
Any questions on the motion?
I think that'll cover it, Nick?
I think so.
No.
No?
I have questions on the motion. Let me ask, instead of doing a wood sign, can we get a laminated,
Let's take all,
weatherproof type thing?
like the ones we got, the 4 fitness signs,
Yes.
something like that.
Yeah.
We got the poles here.
Right.
I'm interested, I just didn't know what the total cost would be. Is it something-
I only got a short time here, I'm done in January, so I don't know how fast I could do that for you. So I'll give it to somebody else.
Doug, do you want to coordinate with Nick as to what company we used for the last group
I
of
can give
signs?
them, I can give them all that information, yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Any other questions on the motion?
Well,
I think I would like to table that motion until December, so we have a
motion-
solid price.
Okay. This is tabled. Any other concerns over the woodlot?
well, maybe we look at the rules. I don't ever remember reading that sign in detail. Do we have too many rules? Do we have not enough rules? Do we have the right rules?
I think the rules coincide with what is in the ordinance, like pick up your dog droppings, no smoking, no fires,
No alcohol.
no alcohol,
Dusk till dawn.
you have to leave dusk to dawn. So I think it was extremely inclusive when we went through the ordinance to put those rules and regulations up there.
But we have lights all night, so I don't think we need dusk to dawn on the sign.
It was dusk to dawn to save for people's public safety.
But
And
why do we
for the
have light- why-
residents, and for the residents that live there too. Vice President, you're gonna table that?
Yes. Motion to table, I believe it had a second.
Yeah.
We have a second?
Second.
Any questions on the motion to table the sign? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? So moved.
With that, I will report general progress.
Super, thank you. Any questions for Vice President?
On ordinance 568, point number 1 talks about single-family and two-family houses paying $360. What happens for 3 and 4 and 5-story family homes, rental properties?
That's correct.
They're supposed to have dumpsters, right?
That would be commercial.
You're looking at commercial versus residential.
Yeah, anything beyond the quadplex
Right.
is considered commercial, and they are required to have their own private haulers take care of their trash needs.
So that's 5 units or more. What about 4-unit buildings?
The quadplex will come under, that's still considered, triplex or a quadplex would still be considered residential, and so for each individual family unit, it's $360. A duplex would be double it, a triplex would be 3 times the $360, and a quadplex would be $360 multiplied by 4.
Okay. Is that what this ordinance says here?
Yeah.
What we're advertising here, single-family or two-family homes?
Yeah, there's only a few triplexes
We
or
only have
quadplexes.
several down at the lower end of the
Yeah,
borough.
well, obviously, we have a lot of duplexes,
We
yes.
do.
Anything obviously beyond 4, that's considered commercial, and they are, again, required by ordinance to obtain their own private trash hauler.
Okay, so we're covering all the types of properties in this.
Yes.
In this
That,
description.
that we would service, right?
All right.
Any other questions on the Woodlot Project? Moving on to Recreation, Councilman Schwager.
Thank you, Madam President. Parkside's Christmas celebration will be Saturday, December 4th at the Parkside Firehouse from 6 to 8.
I'm sorry, the time again?
6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Thank
on
you.
Saturday, December 4th.
Got it.
We will have a lot of activities for the kids. Come out, enjoy a little bit of food, a little bit of drink, visit from a large man in a red suit, and hopefully a good time to be had by all. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, if anybody is interested in helping out, we're looking to finalize volunteer roles for the day of, the setup of the Christmas party. If you could come out tomorrow night here at Borough Hall, 7 o'clock, that'd be greatly appreciated, so we can just finalize different roles. Also, Sunday, December 5th, that following day, 6 o'clock at the West Cole Memorial, we will have our Christmas tree lighting. So it will be a festive weekend, that first weekend in December.
I'm sorry, again, the time?
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
So if it happens to be a cold night, it's not that late at night. Other than that, I can report general progress right now.
Can I ask?
Sure.
Did you touch base, we have a particular police officer here that has his own jolly red suit. Did you get a chance to speak with him?
Actually, Mr. Bull was in contact with a different gentleman.
Oh, okay.
I can certainly find out who is more interested or who has the time. So,
Super, thank you.
I got a
Both
question.
are very excited about it.
Wow, on that December 4th, isn't there a double loan out over the firehouse? So by 8 o'clock, that's got to be clean, because there's another party coming in at 8 o'clock.
The gentleman I contacted through the fire department, I told him we wanted to have the event from 6 to 8. We're gonna need time to set up beforehand and time to clean up right afterwards.
I think there are
So-
negotiations with the other party to move it a little bit.
Okay.
So,
I was gonna say, I
don't
was
know
not,
why-
I was not informed by the fire department of any conflict, so
Yeah, that's
that's
their
the first,
problem.
that's
It's
the
not-
first I've heard
It's
of.
not our problem, that's their problem. So, whatever they have to do. For some reason, they thought that the party was a little earlier, but it's not, and that's their problem, so.
Any other questions for Recreation? Moving on to the Ms4 Recycling, Councilman Capabianco.
Thank you, Madam President. Trash collection for the month was 101.09 tons, and recycling was 8.0 tons. That'll be it.
Super. Any questions for the councilman? Did Mr. Fisher leave a report?
We did. The treasurer has received a total of $990,184.08. There was $6,879.36 in revenue deposits from September 20th to November 14th. That's it.
Super, thank you. Moving on to the engineer's report, Ms. Catania.
Thank you, Madam President. As we discussed a little earlier, we do have a temporary fix for the sinkholes. Hopefully the weather holds out, because they're supposed to do it tomorrow, late
Yeah.
afternoon. And then we'll move forward. I did attend a webinar with DCED concerning some various funding that may be available. I'm going to research that a little bit more, but I do believe that we could either go for a DCED grant or PADP grant, if we're going to spend $200,000, if we were to receive the DCD grant, it's 50% match. And if it's the DEP, small sewer and water, which I talked about when this first happened, that's an 80-20, so we'd only be paying 20%. I'm going to look at both of those and see what's the scoop as far as deadlines. Because if one is faster than the other, I like to put both of them in, but I want to see when the deadlines are, so we're not waiting for a year or two. And then we'll move forward with that. The police HVAC, DWD has been here. The first thing that they did was clear the attic, clean up most of the debris that was up in the attic. They are working on the system itself currently. I'm expecting that should be finished next week. So that'll be the last thing they'll be doing is the balancing. They'll be testing and doing balancing of the system. The 2020 Community Development Block Grant, which is the street lighting, I believe the lights are on.
They are.
They were on the day I was there. They actually tested them the day I was there. We'll have a final invoice that'll go to the Office of Housing and Community Development. And then we've got to find funding for the remainder in the middle, so we don't have a break between the lights on the one side. Community Development 2022, we haven't done the resolution as of yet, so I'm going to ask that President Percival ask for a motion for the resolution for that application.
At this time, council has before them Resolution 1842, whereas Borough Council of Parkside Borough, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, due session assembled, did agree to and resolve to file application for a grant under 2022 Community Development Block Grant Program. And whereas Borough Council did advertise a public meeting for November 17, 2021 at 6:45 to discuss input for the Community Development Block Grant Program. Proof of such publication has been submitted. Whereas the project is to be agreed upon, which would address the needs of the Borough of Parkside. Be it resolved, the Borough Council does hereby authorize the Borough Engineer to prepare the project application to include the projects agreed upon by Borough Council for the Community Development Block Grant Program and authorize it to be submitted for consideration. Priority, number 1 would be the Economic Development Plan. The alternative would be the Edgemont Avenue Revitalization Plan, passed and approved by Council of the Borough of Parkside the 17th day of November. What's your pleasure, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on the motion for Resolution 1842? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? So moved.
Thank you.
Mrs. Higgins, would you clean this up and get it over
Absolutely.
to Mrs. Higgins or Mrs. Patania for our application?
Tomorrow morning I'll get
And
it.
we'll need the meeting minutes as you know we always
Need the minutes too.
And the proof of
and
publication?
the proof of publication
Got all
at
that.
some point. Okay.
We're old hats at
We
this.
are old
aren't
hats
we?
at this. All right, number 5 on my agenda is probably a moot point, but I'm going to bring it up solely for the fact that it is an 80-20 match. The Green Light Go grant is a PennDOT grant that allows for upgrades in your traffic signals. So the grant application requires that, or the grant requires that there be a pre-application scoping form that's sent to PennDOT, and that has to be in by the 30th of November. You only have one street light that you need to worry about, and you have the school flashing signal. You can't put new signals in as part of this particular grant. I don't know whether it's council's pleasure to even discuss it, but it's out there. If anybody decides that they want to do something with it, again, I have to have the pre-scoping done prior to the 30th of November. The DCNR recreational grant, that grant is actually due in April. I'm bringing it up now because we've got notification that it'll be open in January till, I believe it's the 14th of April. That grant is a 50% match. We've used a lot of that funding to complete the woodlot. But again, you need 50% match. So I'm throwing it out there merely for the fact that until tonight, I didn't know what your finances looked like.
Broke.
Yeah, broke. The Delco Greenways, we did receive funding, as was noted a little bit earlier, under the Phase 2 from the county in the amount of $42,100 for a borough-wide open space and recreation plan. And this is important because when you do go for things like these DCNR grants, you need to show that you've done planning to accommodate the improvements that you want done. So that's a good thing. We should be seeing, did you get the contracts yet?
I did not.
We've gotten the notification, I think, that we've received the grant.
Right.
But we should be getting contracts shortly, and then once we have the contracts, they'll have a kickoff meeting, much like the Community Development Block Grant, and we can move forward from there.
Okay.
That we will be using a consultant, so we'd have to do an RFP for that. I cannot be the consultant. The trash and recycling contract, I just wanted to make you aware that yesterday we received the appropriate bonding and insurance certificates. So we're going to put the contracts together. It's been a few months we've been waiting for this, but we finally did get it. So we'll be in place for the first of the year. And otherwise, I can tell everybody happy Thanksgiving. Be thankful for the things you have. And general progress.
Does anybody have any questions for our engineer? Moving on to our solicitor's report, Mr. Wills.
Yes, thank you, Madam President, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First item on my agenda concerns the property at 16 West Roland Road. This is a particular property that the borough had filed multiple trash and nuisance abatement liens on this particular property. I'm pleased to report I was able to effect a recovery from the property owner and had forwarded a check to the borough secretary for approximately $2,500 late last week. That includes, again, all court costs and attorney's fees that the borough had incurred to bring that property into compliance. Second item on my agenda concerns the cable television franchise agreement that the borough maintains with Verizon. That is scheduled to terminate in May of 2023, approximately 18 months from now. I have had some preliminary discussions with one of the regional people for Verizon, and we're hoping sometime early in 2022, after the holidays, to actually have a physical meeting where a representative will come down. So I will be in touch with our council members and the mayor after the holidays in the early part of 2022, and we can have a sit-down face-to-face meeting with our friends from Verizon to consider renewal terms and conditions. Again, we're still 18 months out, but we'll begin that process sometime in early 2022. Third item on my agenda, again, the President of Council had touched on this. We have received a proposal from Sharon Bank to purchase the borough's tax and revenue anticipation note for 2022 at a very competitive interest rate of 3%. It would certainly be my recommendation that we move on that proposal at the December monthly meeting. I will be forwarding to Borough Council between now and then a proposed resolution for Borough Council's consideration. There are also multiple legal documents and filings that go along with that. So the President and the Borough Secretary will have their handy pens ready at the next meeting, and either before or after the meeting, we will sit down and execute all those documents. With that, I can extend a happy Thanksgiving to all our council members and the public, and other than that, I can report general progress.
Thank you, Jay. Does anybody have any questions for our solicitor? Moving on to call to citizens. At this time, if anybody in the public would like to ask any type of governmental question, you would please go to the podium and give your name and your address and what the question would be.
Judy Saunders, 62 East Chelmsford Road. I just want to remind everybody that we are doing the Winter Wonder Walk along the Ford Fitness Trail on the 18th. If anybody wants to come out and decorate a tree or sponsor a tree, any different type of people, we would love to have you. Our rain date is the 19th.
What was the hours, Judy?
6 to 8. It
Everything's...
might be 5 to 7, so don't quote me on that, because I'm not the person.
No,
All right.
it's December, right?
It is December.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna take all the things we made for the rec committee, and we're going to steal them and take them down to the Woodlot. And all the things we're making for the Woodlot, we're gonna do for the rec committees. So we're gonna mutually share all our decorations. I do have a question though. I did meet with the fire department yesterday with regard to a benefit concert, which isn't gonna happen right now. Unfortunately, our main musician just found out that his grandmother has Alzheimer's, and that it's pretty bad. But they were doing really well with their banquet hall bookings.
Yes,
And my
they're very
question-
booked.
Yeah, they're doing beautifully. So my question is that I know we haven't been receiving the monthly statements about how they're spending the money that the taxpayers are giving them. And I know that's because of the changeover with Mayor Demon, so that's fine.
No, it
But-
it has nothing to do with that, but go ahead, I'm sorry.
But if they find that they become self-sustaining, will we reevaluate quarterly that $132,000 that the taxpayers are getting?
Let me take it in part. The responsibility for the fire company is when we give them a quarterly check, then they project, a member of the fire company, whether it be a treasurer, the president, the chief, one of their executive officers, will then come quarterly to us, so it's not a monthly report to us. And that is only a report based on what they did with that quarterly allotment.
Right, I understand, it's
And-
completely only that money.
Exactly, and we did not incorporate a fire tax for the very reason that if they become independent and standing on their own 2 feet, we could stop that allotment and redirect that money elsewhere. If we had incorporated a fire tax, we could not have stopped that
Dedicated
allotment. And we would then sort of stick the residents, per se, with that fire tax until it could have gone through the legal system and had that fire tax repealed.
So the way it's done as a line item?
That's
means
correct.
that we can review it quarterly, and if they
Yes.
become as a private entity, self-sustaining, the taxpayers would no longer need to fund that.
Correct, and they are a private entity, and we are supporting them to avoid them from closing and having numerous other issues happen, which means, would we pay another fire company to come in for fire protection? Would our homeowners, and I was just speaking to the vice president today about that, would our homeowners' insurances all go up, which they would, I understand, anywhere from
Right,
$2,000 to
I did
$3,000.
speak to my own insurance agent, Mario Neto, State Farm, highly recommend him out of Glen Mills.
You just gave them a plug.
Yeah, I totally did. But our insurance would go up if we had to rely on either Brookhaven or Upland.
Correct,
by
$2,000 to $3,000.
$150 a year. So I just want to make sure, because it seems like the fire department is completely on point for all the bullet points they said they were going to do to make themselves self-sustaining, which kudos to them. Well done, guys. We need to keep them. I just want to make sure that we're not also giving them money that they don't necessarily need if they're self-sustaining.
Let me say that last year or 2 years ago, when we found out, and Mayor Powers and I have been dealing with the ambulance pullout for 2.5 years, going back and forth with Crozier. The mayor is in his position through the fire company, my position here on council. And as everybody knows, Crozier won an exorbitant amount of money to keep that unit there. And it was not financially responsible for the fire company to do so. When they came to us initially in executive session, one of the things that we had asked them to do specifically, more than one, I should say, sell equipment that could be sold.
Which they did.
Which they did. Rent the hall as much as they could, which they are. They increased the amount of the rental on the hall. They just, and I don't have my folder with me, so forgive me if I leave something out. They changed their internet and cable system. They're not paying EMTs anymore, so payroll's not there. Taxes are not there that they have to pay to the federal government for having employees. So going through, they shut off the lights, they've changed their system of using electricity, all to decrease their expenditures monthly. And Mayor, if I'm forgetting something, please add it. So that every item that we talked to them about has been met. Their goal is to become financially independent of the borough. Is that feasible in 2023, 2024? We cannot project, when we're looking at gas prices that went from $2.99 to $3.46, $3.59 a gallon of gas. Don't forget, they pay for their fuel, as well as we do for those trucks, those gasolines.
Completely
So,
understood, but at the same point,
is-
if you're booked solid through till February at $700 for every hall rental, and you're double booked on certain days, that seems like they're becoming somewhat self-sustaining.
The hall rental will never be able to support the fire company alone.
No.
They don't even make $700 on a hall rental. By the time someone comes in 2 hours before and sometimes 3 hours after, or vice versa, the heat's running, the air conditioning's running, the lights are running. I mean, there's just to heat that hall and air condition that hall, there is 5 large air conditioners and heaters on that roof. So they are probably making $50 to $75, maybe $100 on a hall rental.
So for a hall rental for 4 hours with the cleanup and cleaning setup of maybe another hour on each end.
So just for an
They're
example, there was a hall
expending
rental there.
$600 in fuel and electricity.
Electric, janitor,
Cleaning
cleaning supplies.
service.
The list goes on and on and on. So they're not,
May I ask another question? My understanding was that they were gonna do some sort of club.
They were looking into, and again, I go back into the 80s. Yes, yes, I'm old. I see the people in the back. Yes, I'm old. Back in the 80s, they did something called a social club.
Right.
So you could have a membership and go in during the hours, and they were looking to start that back up again.
Like a VFW that.
Yes, it would be
has to-
specific to members only. I don't believe, because there have been changeovers, as we all know, the treasurer left, the chief has changed over, and they're now just projecting, they've gotten through this year by selling some equipment, hall rentals, as I said, discontinuing cable employees, and there's been a whole gambit of things that they have progressed with. I don't believe they've gotten to that yet.
Is there any way that the community can help facilitate that? I mean, I understand they're a private entity, but
Yes.
they are integral to our community, and I'm sure there's a lot of residents that would be happy to help them continue on.
I think we're all here so that the fire I shouldn't say all, I believe many of us, and I can only speak for myself, I guess I better take that back. Having been a member of the fire company since the late 70s and into the 80s, I cannot see this community without a fire company there.
Oh,
And
100%.
everything that we can do to keep them afloat and support their members is very important to me. And when my smoke detector goes off, I want to see that big red truck in front of my house.
Oh, absolutely, and
Yeah.
100% believe they're integral to our community.
Yes.
I'm just trying to wonder, I know it's a private entity, so there's a fine line between what the taxpayers are paying for
Mhm.
and what they're able to do to facilitate the fire department staying without it being a public entity. Is what I'm getting
They've
at.
done everything that they said they would do up to this point. The social club, I'm sure with the changeovers over there, is on their list. They also want to do some redecorating at the hall to make it a little more newer. But again, it all comes from monies. They've got to do what we do, save the money. And like your home budget, you save your money, you want new drapes, you want to paint, you save your money to do these things as you go.
Okay, wonderful, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Does anybody else wish to address council for call to citizens with any type of governmental question? Thank you. Does council have any unfinished business?
I'd like to mention something about the Hometown Hero Program.
Sure.
October, we had the first dedication for the Hometown Hero Program for the veterans of Parkside. I have to say it was a huge, huge success. And I want to say that I won't be taking on for the next year. Kimberly Roman and Mary Beth McGettigan will be taking over for the Hometown Hero Program. And I believe they already have like 8 or 10 people that are now
Oh,
interested.
get out.
Because they saw the videos
Okay.
on social media.
Yeah.
And even some people say, oh, I didn't know we had a Hometown Hero Program. I don't know where they were, but
It's on there.
yeah, it's on there, but people say, oh, I didn't know we had one. The flags, the banners have been hung.
Great job.
And once again, I have to thank Brookhaven for doing that. They did that on their own time, and I think it looks great.
Looks great. And I want to thank Councilman Capabianco, Mayor Powers. They all helped with Brookhaven's trucks. And a special thanks to you. It was a great program, great program.
Enjoy doing it.
Thank you.
And I have one other thing for the unfinished.
Yes,
This is my last meeting. I'm done.
that was
So,
quick.
yes. But I just want to say I enjoyed being on council for the most part. It's been fun and it's been interesting. So I wish everybody good luck, and we're out of here on the 27th.
Is that your
You will be
resignation?
missed.
Yes, that's my resignation, yes.
I cannot commend you And-
Your resignation will be effective
December 1st.
December 1st, okay.
December.
I cannot commend you enough for what you've done with recreation and this borough council. I appreciate every moment and every sweat that you put into this
I'd
community.
say recreation was so much fun.
Yes.
For somebody who doesn't care for children and have no children, I think.
Wish he hadn't said that.
Well, it's been put out on social media, so I might as well just enforce it.
I would like
So-
to thank Todd Bennett. Thank you very much for everything you've done here. Really. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I will accept Councilman Long's resignation, verbal resignation with regret. I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
We have to have a motion, guys. Can we get a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor to accept with regret?
I'm
Aye.
sorry, where'd that second come from? Scott. Thank you.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
So moved. I'm sorry. Okay, moving on. Do you have anything else other than you quit?
No,
That was it?
that was basically a Hometown Hero Program, and
I quit.
I'm out of here.
At least we can make fun of it, huh? New business. I would like to first wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. May you all have good blessings. Our December meeting, I will remind everybody, is December 15th, 7 o'clock, nothing early, nothing late. I will entertain a motion to advertise the 2022 meeting dates.
Second.
Who made the motion?
You said you made a motion.
I
Is it
entertain a
shall
motion.
Oh, I'll make that motion. Second.
Any questions on the motion?
Doug, go.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Everybody must know, we've been here since a little before 6, and we just kept moving. So,
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, good night,
Was not
thank you
gonna
all.
hesitate on that.